Just when LeBron thought things couldn't get any harder, the one person he was able to rely on throughout this entire battle against Steph and the Warriors was leaving his side. The person who sank the Game 7 dagger in 2016 and helped secure Cleveland's first championship in history would be headed to Boston. And this came as a shock to everybody, as Kyrie and LeBron had been on top of the basketball world for the last couple years. He really was the Robin to LeBron's Batman, but unfortunately it was that Robin nickname that made him seek validation somewhere else. It was this move by Kyrie that essentially cemented the fact that LeBron would be headed to LA. The Cavs couldn't make the roster changes they needed to truly contend. J.R. Smith took up almost $14 million a year, and with Tristan Thompson taking in about $16.5 million, there just wasn't the flexibility. And with today's crazy contracts, that might not seem like that much, but back in the day, only 10 years ago, that was a massive contract. And to make matters even worse, their performances dipped immediately after 2016 and did not warrant the hit their cap was taking. And this was the worst part about it for LeBron. He had essentially lost Kyrie for nothing. His newest teammate, Isaiah Thomas, might have been coming off a career year there in Boston, but was also coming off a major hip injury, which would essentially end his career. Jay Crowder, who was a great role player, coupled with this version of Isaiah Thomas, was literal pennies on the dollar for what they lost in Kyrie. But Kyrie's departure really didn't make a difference between the finals in 2017 and 2018. In fact, one could argue that Kyrie's departure allowed for LeBron to be at his all-time peak in 2018, as he was required to do more than he ever had in his career. Nothing would prove that more than the next 2 years. The 2017 finals was a gentleman's sweep of the Cavs that for a moment felt like the stage was set for LeBron to come back from a 3-0 lead against the greatest team of all time, but unfortunately the Warriors easily put away the Cavs after Game 5 to secure their second championship in 4 years. Drink your water. Hit that sub button. And in 2018, the results were only more brutal for the Cavs as they were officially swept in 4, including one of the most embarrassing moments in sports history. On May 31st, 2018, we were treated to one of the greatest final games we've had in recent history. LeBron played 48 minutes to put up 51 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, while the trio of Clay, KD, and Steph put up 79 points. The ending of this game was a brilliant back and forth that culminated with George Hill going to the free throw line with 4.7 seconds to shoot 2 free throws and a chance to win the game. Nobody thought the Cavs could be in this position. The score was 107 to 106, and after George Hill sunk the first free throw of the two, Oracle Arena was an absolute shock that they could be 4 seconds from losing the game. But to their delight and immediate horror, and then delight again, he missed the second free throw, to which J.R. Smith got the offensive rebound, but in some slew of panic ran away from the hoop until time expired. The Warriors would go on to win in overtime, but this image of LeBron will forever be a summary of his struggle against these Warriors. No matter what he did, it felt like injuries or something out of his control was always stacking the deck against him. He had just put on arguably the greatest performance on a basketball court against arguably the greatest team in history, and it was all washed away in 4.5 seconds. And to cap things off, LeBron fractured his hand punching the wall in frustration with JR in the locker room afterwards, which undoubtedly impeded his play the rest of the series. Imagine what a healthy and even more motivated LeBron with a 1-0 lead could have done, but we'll never know, as the next 3 games were simply a formality. The Cavs were simply too emotionally drained from that Game 1 debacle and didn't put up much of a fight the rest of the series. Drink more. LeBron in the 2017 finals averaged 34 points a game, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. And in 2018, he averaged 34 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. These are absolutely historic performances that against any other team would secure a championship and a finals MVP. But against this Warriors team, it was only enough to secure 1 win in 9 games. It was at this time that Steph had truly broken LeBron. Their relationship had come full circle. Only 2 years ago, LeBron had broken Steph so badly, he was willing to hand over the keys to his team to Kevin Durant, and now Steph had returned the favor to the point where LeBron would head across the country to Los Angeles for a change of scenery. But as Steph would find out in the 2019 playoffs, selling your soul comes with the price, as his entire team around him would collapse to injuries in the finals against the Raptors, once again dooming his quest to three-peat, something neither Steph or LeBron have been able to do. One of the very few things lacking from both their resumes when comparing them to players like Kobe or Michael Jordan. Steph and the Warriors had this obsession, this unrelenting desire to take down LeBron that it ended up pushing them down a path that led to their own destruction. After the 2019 season, Kevin Durant left for the Brooklyn Nets, and Klay Thompson would essentially miss the next 2 seasons recovering from injury. And this would lead the Warriors into the darkest days of the Curry era, which would eventually be corrected with some trades that landed Andrew Wiggins and the emergence of Jordan Poole. As for LeBron, his time in LA was not exactly going much better. He was enduring a rebuilding phase where he found himself with youngsters like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart. That was until LeBron blessed a trade that would send all of them out and bring Anthony Davis in, which would set the stage for the last chapter in their careers. When LeBron departed for the Western Conference, many expected annual battles in the playoffs between the two, but year after year, it failed to happen. But on May 19th, 2021, the basketball world finally got their wish as the Lakers and Warriors would face off in the play-in game. And to nobody's surprise, this was a game for the ages. Steph dropped 37 points on 12 of 23 shooting, including 6 threes and 7 rebounds. But for once, LeBron had the benefit of the better team. And after hitting this three to win the game, he could finally find some solace knowing he exacted a little bit of revenge for 2017 and 2018. However, this triumph wouldn't last long as Curry would go on to win the title next year, securing his 4th championship to equal LeBron. Both LeBron and Steph now had 2 championships with super teams and 2 championships without. Now the question would be, who could get to number 5 first? The next series we'd get between the two was in the 2023 Western Conference semifinals, as LeBron's new look Lakers looked to continue their hot streak after posting a 17-9 record after the All-Star break into the playoffs. Meanwhile, we were seeing Steph Curry play some of the best basketball of his career, as he was averaging near 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists while willing his team to victory every night, just like LeBron had done so much in the past. This, however, would be the least exciting series we'd ever get between the two, as the Lakers went on to beat the Warriors 4-2, and the series really never felt competitive. The Lakers would go up 3-1, and even though the Warriors did win Game 5, Game 6 was never in doubt. The idea that their competitive days were behind them were a real possibility, and the fact that 2024 was an absolute failure for both of their teams, that they had finally closed the book that was the story of their rivalry. But thanks to a certain Olympic athlete named Noah Lyles and the underachieving US men's team at the 2023 FIBA World Cup, LeBron and Steph would have one more chapter to write, except this would be completely different. The 2024 Paris Olympics had set the stage for potentially the greatest US men's national basketball team we'd ever seen. The main reason for that? Steph Curry and LeBron James. And what the world would be treated to will go down the history books, as this Olympic tournament includes some of the most historic games of our era. From the US team being down 17 points to Serbia to rally back in the second half, to the gold medal game against France, in which we saw some of the most vintage Steph Curry that had ever been put on display. In the final 3 minutes, Steph finished 4 for 4 on 3-pointers, including this 3 over these 2 defenders, twice his size, to secure the gold. And with LeBron receiving MVP of the tournament, there was nothing more fitting, as for the last decade, it was both Steph and LeBron who were the face of the league, and had brought us some of the most iconic moments in NBA history. An element that nobody had seen coming was just how effortlessly their play styles matched, and how well they complemented off of one another. An entire dialogue, an entire conversation started about how amazing of teammates they were to one another, and what they could have achieved had they played together. This was such a stark contrast from the images we had seen just a decade ago. Now, it's no secret, both players would be open to being teammates in the NBA, and that in itself has pushed the NBA world into a frenzy of trade ideas that could allow this to happen, especially with both their teams having very little chance to win the title. Do these two players have a prologue left to write? Could they team up together for one last ride? Could they secure their 5th championship together? Could they truly come full circle and end their careers as teammates instead of rivals? You see, LeBron and Steph, no matter how different in appearance, have so much in common in their journey, their story. One was not supposed to succeed based on where he came from. The other was not supposed to succeed because of his size. But both overcame and in the process developed a relationship with one another that would shape a narrative that would help define one of the most important eras in NBA history. There is no Stephen Curry without LeBron James. There is no LeBron James without Stephen Curry. What is your favorite memory in the story of LeBron James and Steph Curry? Has either of their legacies impacted you as a person or a basketball player? Let me know in the comments. This video took over 30 hours to edit and was one of the most intense things I've ever done, but I had so much fun doing it and can't wait to bring you another one. And if you enjoyed this video, think about watching either of these videos that's on the screen. As always, hit that sub button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.